Welcome everyone and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here today for our session, What Customers Want, the BFSI and Fintech edition. During this discussion, we're going to cover, what are the current customer trends and what we can expect, for CX and how you can probably supercharge your CX strategy for all businesses in the BFSI and Fintech space. We've got a fantastic panel lined up today. So I'm just going to allow them to introduce themselves. Himanshu, why don't you get us started?
Thanks, Nandita. Hi, everybody. This is Himanshu. I had solution engineering for Freshworks and also public sector growth. I have a working experience of around 17 years, also a board member in a couple of companies and winner of 2021 Okta Tech and Comer Award.
Awesome. Nityanand?
Hello, everyone. This is Nityanand. I'm IIT Kanpur graduate, having 17 years experience globally. I worked with GE, then India, US, and came back. Worked with a couple of startups, now with Knowlarity Communications for over last 7 years. I'm handling customer success here at Knowlarity.
Kushal?
Great. Thanks, Anita. Great to meet you, Himanshu and Nityanand. So Kushal here. I'm one of the founders at Xoxoday. I'm a travel enthusiast and I've traveled more than 70 countries now. I have represented India in a couple of long formats of adventure and travel. And yes, I'm here to share my experiences in the BFSI segment. Hope it would add value to your knowledge. Thank you so much.
Amazing. So welcome once again to all our panelists, and let's get started with this conversation. So what we're here to discuss today is really like, what do your customers want? Like, what do they want when they sign up for a particular service from a BFSI or FinServ, business? So just to get started, maybe let's talk a little bit about what customer expectations are like right now and how have they maybe changed in the last 12 months, right? So we've also got a quick poll for all of our attendees. We just want to know, what have you seen? Like, what are your customers really asking for? And if you could just jump to the next slide. We have a few statistics that talk about, how customers are working with the businesses that they associate with, like what makes them, stay with a particular business or leave a business, right? So we see that almost 30% of customers are saying that they would move to different banks or different banking services just if they have a better price point, or more importantly, they have better customer service and support, right? And similarly, we're also saying that consumers are also just looking for, the more personalized and the kind of experiences that would cater to their specific needs, right? So that is what we're seeing is really the need of the hour. And if we can just have a look at the poll results, we can also see what you guys are seeing in the industry as business leaders. So, right. So I think the data has proved us right. And I think, I'd love to bring in, Himanshu, Kushal, if you want to talk a little bit about, what are these expectations that you're seeing in the industry so far? And maybe what are the factors that are triggering this change? What is making customers feel like they need more or they need something different from their service providers?
Sure, thank you. So I think, in the last 12 months in the pandemic, obviously, especially in the BFSI sector, BFSI sector was more or less semi-digitized earlier. And there was a lot of face-to-face interactions. If you're in a bank, then you would walk in a bank and speak to your RM, relationship manager. If you're in the insurance industry, right, you will probably meet your banker or the insurance provider. But I think during the pandemic, obviously we couldn't meet people, and customers experience digitizations on multiple platforms, right, outside BFSI and inside BFSI. So I think their expectations are aligned to what they're seeing overall from an overall industry perspective, and especially millennials expect to be using all the latest technologies. For example, why can't I chat with my RM on a WhatsApp? For example, can I get 24/7 service? Right? Why should I have to wait for maybe a day to speak to a person? So faster service, 24/7 availability, what we call an omni-channel experience, where be where the customer is, I think is something which has picked up in the last 7 months. And obviously, customers are expecting a very highly digitized service, not only in terms of customer service, but also in terms of onboarding or signing up, right? So customers are experiencing that digitization journey across various products and services, and they are expecting the same capability to be in the BFSI sector. So, from sign up to getting things done, getting data, what is my balance, what is my coverage, for example. So these are the expectations that we've seen, in the last 12 months. So in a nutshell, yes, higher digitizations, and then 24/7 service, faster service also, a lot of AI implementation happening to provide these services as well.
Absolutely. And maybe, Kushal, maybe if you can talk us a little bit through, what are some of the factors that are influencing this change? Is it more about digital technology and, is it also like Himanshu touched upon as well, like the pandemic itself?
Yeah. So Himanshu has given a very nice angle of the customer angle, right? So the front facing angle. Let me give a perspective from the business angle, right? So if you see, in India, there are close to 6,500 companies who are in BFSI and Fintech or financial services industry, out of which around 500 of the companies are financially stable and have decent presence here in India. And if I do an analysis of how the companies are adopting technology or how they are geared up to provide a superior customer experience to in the market, it all starts from kind of currently we as software sellers in the industry. Previously, we saw that all these companies they ask us to kind of come to their office and give the demonstration of the products, etc. But now it has all come online. We have rarely encountered cases where they are stubborn about kind of having a meeting in person. So it starts from kind of having going from the offline meetings to online meetings. Then the companies have started adopting more of prior to pandemic, it was that the companies want to use on-premise solution, which was a little less agile, but kind of gives greater security. This is what their perception was. But now the companies are now changing, and they are okay. They are more than happy to kind of deploy the cloud services. Also, the companies have started adopting and building certain middlewares. Now, these middlewares are the systems which fetch the data from multiple data systems which they have in this company or tech stack in the company. And these middlewares act like a really good tool which can integrate with new technologies very fast. Which you can go live very fast and then provide a much superior experience to the customers. So this is what the companies in the BFSI industries are transitioning towards, and happy to see the adoption of technology in this space.
Right, thank you for that. So just double down a little bit on your answer there, Kushal. We've always known that when it comes to banking and financial services, especially when you're dealing with money, the industries have been slightly rigid in terms of how much they're willing to stretch with adopting new technologies, and that just from a security standpoint as well. How well do you think they're going in terms of adopting new technology? Are they really embracing it, or is there still some resistance and in the industry? What are your thoughts?
So Nandita, now the CTOs and CIOs of these companies have started taking these cloud-based initiatives much more proactively. So as I mentioned, there are around 500 companies whom we as Xoxoday target. So we help companies to digitize their incentives, and we have a flavor of gamification which makes it so fun and interesting for their sales folks to kind of go after. So we have seen that out of these 500 companies in India and around 2,000 companies in APAC region, We are working with close to 20% of the companies in some way or the other, with them, and we have seen that the meetings we did 2 years back, right? They have started coming to us, and they start saying that, okay, we need to kind of need a little more education about the product and about the services, and then adopt the services. And in terms of adaptability of the consumers as well, the companies have seen decent traction and decent adoption of these pieces. So I would say that the transformation is something which is a journey, and a BFSI segment was the digital transformation in BFSI segment was long pending. And this pandemic has actually accelerated the pace of adopting to the services, which is much more customer facing, much more better, providing better UX to customers, and yes, and overall kind of building a happy culture, happy kind of place. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, what we are seeing as well from whatever data we read is that now customers know what they can get, which is why they don't tolerate anything less than what they expect. So I think that's a good, that sets up my next question pretty well. So now we have a lot of non-traditional players in the market, right? Who, are kind of drawing in new audiences, younger consumers rather, who know that, okay, I can get more from dealing with someone who's not a traditional BFSI or FinServ business. So can you talk maybe a little bit about, how they've kind of disrupted the CX landscape? I'd love if all of our panelists could answer this question.
So, yeah,
Go ahead,
you see, yes. Certainly in the BFSI space, there are like two different kind of segmentations, which we call about the traditional players and the fintech, which are much more advanced in terms of the technology embarrassing as well. Right. So, and traditional players are now coming and facing the challenges where they have to be at par with providing the services which the new age fintech services can provide. And all the non-traditional players are very, very open to adopting to any of the cloud-based services, and they understand that they have to provide them based in the class customer services. And what it requires is that the customer can have any information on the click of their button, and the omni-channel experience, right? So you go to any bank, they have, you do any transaction, you come home, that the details are available on your mobile, on your desktop, on your laptop, on your SMS or WhatsApp, you call the customer. So this is the kind of experience cannot be accomplished without having digital experience, right? And without embarrassing the cloud system, right? So which can be integrated everywhere. This is provided, and all the non-traditional players, what they are doing is that certainly for them the security, privacy, reliability, all those were the very high concern, and all the digital space provides everything of that, right? Even including the breach of the data, which could be more in a non-digital space, right? Digital space, if it is secure, if it's secured, right? So those kind of things comes, even the employee breach, internal breaches, all those things are not there, and they are embarrassing this a lot. So this is what our experience is.
Great. Himanshu, Kushal, anything to add?
Yes, I think, fintech players were already adopting a lot of cloud technologies in DX. But I think one core fundamental thing that, it's also highlighted by a lot of surveys, and even EY came up with a report some time back, that these companies already had the customer data, and, digitally enabled platforms always have more access to data, and customers are also willing to share that data, right? So I think these companies were able to make faster decisions and adopt technologies based on that data they were collecting from customers, right? For example, I was working with the biggest fintech company in APAC, and they already had the data about where the customers are calling them, right? And they found out that mostly people were using either the app or the online process rather than calling them during this pandemic, right? And they were getting massive surges in odd hours, right? So I think that data really helped them to define their journey. And such data, maybe it was not that apparent in the not in the traditional BFSI segment, but I think this data really helped transform these non-traditional players very easily, who had already these platforms that could collect such data and also give feedback.
Kushal, over to you.
Yeah. So, so typically we have seen that the technology adaptability between the CIOs and CXOs or the CTOs, it was fairly fragmented. So I'll share some of the experiences which I had. So one of the experience I had was in Middle East market. So 2 years back, when we were chasing after the Middle East market, with great rigor, we found that none of the companies are are accepting the cloud-based technologies, and we in fact cracked a couple of customers, and we thought that we would be able to kind of make our tool more on-prem and more adaptable to their market needs. But over a period of time, we realized that on-prem is something which may not be so agile and so good altogether, and we kind of we had to say no to a couple of customers at that time. But now with this pandemic, we have seen that all those customers have again started coming back, and they say that the points which you were telling us earlier about the agility, about the availability of the services, about the real time experience of those data, etc. It is something which we actually want. So the need and the realization of the need, I would say, to be more precise, has started coming in, and yes, the companies are now geared up to kind of take up to the new technologies and do the transformation piece.
Right. Absolutely. So also, just to kind of, you're talking about people who initially were not so compliant, and now they're coming back and they're realizing that maybe we should be investing in cloud technology and stuff like that. Do you think that now it's a non-negotiable that every financial service industry or business needs to invest somewhere in cloud technology or different kind of digital solutions? Is that the only way to make them, kind of future-proof? Or does not having it, does it impact them otherwise? Like, does it make them a little more, unable to cater to customer needs? If Nityanand, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes. So certainly, right now it's basically you don't have a choice. So it's non-negotiable today. It's just like I don't have a choice to not have a mobile phone, right? I have to have a mobile phone. Similarly, all the FinServ companies have to have the cloud-based solution. So that's the things which we see. And with the pandemic, have taught us and all the organizations of the BFSI as well that they had to switch over to work from home scenario, right? Earlier they used to have, for example, a call center solution, what they need. They used to have the on-premise solution. They used to have the PRI line, CPBX, and data center, even computers in their offices to take care of their CRMs, which were there. And now with the pandemic, when people started work from home, how do they access it, right? So they had to change, like organizations had to work hard for months to transition themselves or provide the VPN access to the solutions which are hosted in their premises to access to their employees and others to take care of the services. It was easier for them, and it is easier for them to move to the cloud services, right? If you want to do the cloud services, if you want to enable a contact center, for example, it's just a matter of 2 hours or so, right? Depending on the complexity. If you want to get a CRM system, right? Or if you want a ticketing system from Freshworks, right? It's just a click of button, you get the solution live, right? And everything which is highly reliable and secured system. So, and it's pretty much customized to your needs, like be it small customers to organization which is 50,000 crores as well, right? So all those they use this system, and it works seamlessly. And this is why they are adopting it as well, and working beautifully. So that's the
Absolutely.
way things are going as well.
Right. Thank you for that. Himanshu, did you want to add something there?
Absolutely. I think cloud technology is the way to go, right? And I think pandemic really accelerated what all of us knew. But from benefit standpoint, what benefits do I get? One is obviously the faster deployment time. Easier to maintain, lower costs, right? But apart from that, right, you can actually enhance customer experience from sales to service, right? And cloud technologies, for example, like Freshworks, helps customers to transform not only the customer experience post sales, but also pre-sales, where a simple conversation about buying an insurance policy can start over a bot conversation on a WhatsApp, and then a lead can go to your CRM, right? And then from there, the customer experience is so seamless that for the customer, it's only one person or one channel. I'm doing everything on WhatsApp, and I convert the sale, and when I have to reach out to support, it can be the same channel. So this experience was missing in the on-prem world, right? Because they had to plug in multiple solutions all together. It was not deeply integrated, right? And obviously, it was not scalable. Did not support these channels. So for a customer also, if you think cloud adoption, what they're already using everything on cloud. They're using Gmail, using WhatsApp, all their services they're using are on cloud, right? So I think uh, to give that experience to customers, also companies need to adopt and embrace cloud technology so that we can enhance their end customer experience, right? And again, millennials expect this, but even older generation is kind of adopting these technologies very fast.
Absolutely.
So that's the thought process, right? So I think unless you adopt these technologies, it's impossible for you to really deliver the experience that customers nowadays expect.
Absolutely. And I think, one thing we've been talking so much about, the customer experience and all of that, but, a large part of your customer experience and their support and all of that depends hugely on who's sitting on this side of the screen, right? Or this side of the technology. So how much does, the employee experience, how they're able to use the tools that you adopt, or how easy it is for them to, assimilate to a new technology, like how much does that impact CX in your opinion? Kushal, Himanshu, Nityanand, open to anyone who wants to answer.
Sure. So Manita, let me give an example again from my company. A couple of examples, basically. So, as you know, Xoxoday is all about rewards and incentives, and it helps you to kind of digitize some of your business goals and align your business goals to people, and then once the goals are achieved, you kind of automatically disburse some kind of incentives. So recently what we did was we kind of did some experiments with a couple of companies. So we did an experiment with one of the companies, which is one of the largest company in gig economy space. They deliver food at your doorsteps. Sorry, I'm taking a off track example, but I'll try to relate.
No, that's totally fine.
So they had close to 250,000 delivery executives, and they were facing problems around attrition. So if you see the life of a delivery executive in a company is close to 9 to 10 months. So the company has to spend time and money again to train him, and then onboard him, and then get work from him all over again. They also face problem that the delivery is exact, to the point, and the customer should like the quality of delivery, right? So what we did was we kind of and happy to share that that company also used Freshworks as a CRM, so we integrated there, and we made the life of the delivery guy like a game. So every delivery they do, they get some incentives. Every day that they stay back, they get some badge, and when they when they stay back for a longer period of time, they get something more. Every time they get a great rating from the customer, they get some kind of incentives. Or if they have got if they aggregate all the ratings from all the customers, and if they have rated more 5 stars, let's say, in a month, they get something more. So likewise, these technologies have actually helped these companies, and specifically the delivery executives, to change the behavior. Now the delivery executives are no more rude to you, right? Most of the times they are courteous. They say thank you, I hope you like the meal, and those one line, right, which matters, has started getting kind of impacted. In a similar case, we implemented with a couple of insurance companies where they have a large workforce of agents, and basically insurance advisors, they call it as LAs, or maybe insurance sales producers. Again, they also had companies also had a similar problem where the adoption of technology was a problem. Adoption of the activation of a particular insurance policy was getting hampered, because the person was not using the technology, he was not uploading the document, so you are not getting the policy on time, right? So we again kind of gamified the life of a sales an insurance agent, where every policy he sells, every time he uses the sales app or a CRM, which the company has built for him, every feature he uses, he gets some kind of incentives. And this actually behind the scene, these are some of the behind the scene activities. If the companies are adopting, it can actually enhance the customer experience to the next level. And that's what is happening with some of our customers. So the motivation of the employees and the stakeholders is significantly important, and it cannot happen with some speeches and some those stuff. You actually have to let them live on that, and you have to kind of use these technologies like gamification, etc., to kind of enhance their experience, so that they can provide much better experience to the customers.
Absolutely, thank you for that. I think that's quite a vivid picture of what it means and how it can impact the customer at the end of the day. Himanshu, did you want to add something to that?
Absolutely. I think Vineet Nair, ex-CEO of HCL, came up with a book called Employee First, Customer Second, right? And that's now taught in Harvard. So I agree. I think if you keep your employees motivated, and Freshworks as a company right now, that one of our core theories is to have a happy work environment. Only then you'll make the customers happy. So I think it's really important to do that. And Freshworks, for example, as a company, started gamification 10 years back, and people were not even thinking about gamification. So we built gamification as a core module in our product, right? So for example, we can gamify on CSATs, like Kushal was saying. If you get a higher CSAT, we can integrate with Xoxoday and get a reward for that person, right? And we run multiple themes, right? So we can name it like the CSAT champion of the month, or the highest ticket resolver of the month, right? You can customize the gamification in a product like Freshworks. So that really helps in, one, obviously making sure that the employee is delivering best customer experience. He talks politely, he does his best to deliver that customer experience, he or she, right? And then obviously it motivates employees to even go beyond the usual work they do, right? So I think we've seen and we've taken feedback from customers. How did it help you? And they've reported that they've seen increased CSAT, right? Lower follow-ups, right, which is a big problem for companies. Lower reopening of tickets, right? So this is what it results in, and obviously integrating with a platform like Xoxoday, right, really materializes that gamification that we do, right? Because one is obviously recognizing and then also rewarding, which really helps in customer experience enhancement.
Yeah, I think it's we just follow that adage forever, right? Like happy employee equals happy customer. Yeah. I think, yeah. So I think we're down to our last question, after which we'll open up for some questions from our audience. So audience, if you have any questions, please feel free to add them to the Q&A widget, and we'll try and answer as many as possible in the given time. Right, so this is the last question for us for our discussion this afternoon, and this is something I'd like to pose to all the panelists here. What should you be prioritizing to improve CX in the near future? Right, you can talk about solutions or what you need to be thinking about when you're adopting solutions. What is it that needs to be right at the center of any decision that comes along with improving your CX?
So I can start this.
Sure, Nityanand.
So certainly when we go for the customer CX and company rehaul, right, there will be a long list to do things. So the center things has to be around how do we do the digital adoption and how do we move to cloud. So these are the two center things, the things should revolve around. Now what happens is that a lot of things are there which you will have not in either non-digitized form, be it your application form, your customer acquisition process, or customer support process, which are not in digital form or either not in the cloud form. These are the two things which you should prioritize. And the solution couple of would be, for example, here we provide the call center solutions and voice solutions, SMS, WhatsApp, and all those things which are the digital solutions you get within hours, right? The solutions that you need to think about how the customer acquisition is happening. For example, where are my customer data is stored? What are the CRMs that we are using? What are the ticketing systems am I using? What is my communication channels with the customers? Those are the things should be prioritized first, and then others certainly will follow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll take I'll take it forward. So I think one important thing to understand is where are your customers contacting you, right? And what are the challenges? So a lot of times when I speak to CIOs, they say, no, I only have call volume and all that, right? But Deloitte did a survey in January this year, right? And they found out 65% of the respondents, and this is a very large survey of thousands of customers, and they said 65% of the respondents said that they only use the online banking site or mobile app to address the CX requirement, while only 10% said I call the call center, right? So it's important to also understand and get data around what's happening there, because a lot of times, customer success leaders or operation leaders or CIO said, no, my call volume is the main thing, right? And have you really seen the site visits and what has the customer done there, right? Has he gone to X place to download his bank statement, or has he reached out from the mobile app and interacted with your, let's say, a chat channel, right? So I think it's really important to understand where your customers are reaching out from, and then prioritize that journey for them, right? For example, if you see that there is a lot of good mobile adoption, why don't I enhance that journey by implementing AI so that we can give a 24/7 experience to the customer? If you see that call volume is where you're getting a lot of hits after hours, then why not implement a voice bot, right? So I think it's really important to understand that, and obviously then the next thing to look at is, can I provide an omni-channel experience to the customer, so that if the person calls me from, let's say, a phone and then he follows on a WhatsApp, I don't have to give the context again, right? And it does break the customer experience. So I think that's very important to do. And it's also important to not to do everything at once, right? So big bangs are good to hear, but it doesn't work. So maybe go slow, prioritize what is a phase one versus what is a phase two, because I've seen a lot of companies failing in digital adoption if they pick up a lot of things at once, right? And also another problem I see is AI, for example, right? And companies want to build AI themselves, but it's really not scalable. So it's important to also select a vendor who has these capabilities and who has investments going on in this area, right, to really implement AI the right way. So I think this is what I would propose to the audience.
Thank you, Himanshu. Kushal?
I think more or less Himanshu has snatched a few words from me, and I think yes. So there are a couple of questions. Should we take that because I think these are interesting ones.
All right, super, perfect. So I think that brings us to the Q&A session, which is something we're all excited to get into. First of all, thank you so much for all your insights. I'm sure that our audience found it very interesting. Now we'll just take a few questions as much as time permits for now. So to all of our attendees, once again, if you have any questions, please do drop them in the widget box and we'll try and answer them today. Before we do that, we talked about a few solutions here from Xoxoday, Knowlarity, and Freshworks. If you would like to know about any of these solutions further, if you would like to get, any of our experts to get in touch with you, there's a small poll that's popped up. You could just let us know, and then we'll reach out to you after the session is done. Right. So jumping to one of the questions that's come up here, which is posed to all of the panelists, and anyone can pick it up. How do you see the insurance sector adapting to the technology? Any of the panelists can take this up. Thank you, Suman, for your question.
Thanks,
So,
Suman. Shall I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Kushal.
Okay. So if you see in insurance sector, we need to see, we need to first understand different types of stakeholders which are there in the insurance industry. So I'll take the business angle who are more involved in the sales process. So if you see in insurance industry, there are some insurance advisors and salesmen who are the frontline staff who kind of meet you and sell some kind of insurance policy. Then there are branch managers or intermediate managers who sit in, who kind of takes care of a certain area or a region or a group of insurance advisors. And third would be the central team who kind of provide certain insights to these people and help them to kind of sell it. So if you see, I had a Q&A session with a couple of branch managers in at one of the customers where we deployed our product, and I found a couple of interesting insights from them. So one was about the income planning. So every time these branch managers, they have to every time they have to sit with the insurance advisors and plan that, okay, what is the target you will take and how much you can make, right? So this discussion itself is a lengthy discussion and a concentrated discussion which this person has to do, which I felt can be automated, right? So you can actually ask them that, okay, what you can do, and basis that you can show that this is what you can earn, right? So it's a simple calculator which you can kind of provide, and it can actually provide you certain analytics around it. Then the points were around the contests and offers which keeps running, or the incentive program which keeps running in the company. So there are hundreds of incentive programs and contests that runs in these companies. And even these branch managers are not aware about these contests and offers. So there needs a technology which can kind of answer this question, that every person in the hierarchy is aware about what contests, what incentive programs are running for them. Then there were also issues around the person doesn't have visibility of who is the performer, who is the non-performer, and who is the inactive person who is kind of in the entire ecosystem, which again is a problem, which is a data problem which can be solved. So overall, if you see in the insurance industry, if you are able to solve the data problem, right, a lot of efficiency can come in picture, both in terms of the last leg of or a ground level of team, to the branch manager, to the central team who is kind of managing it. And we have seen that in last 6 to 8 months, we have deployed our product in almost half a dozen insurance companies in India, and the companies have seen great kind of outcome in terms of kind of showing that showing that data in a transparent way to the entire ecosystem. So yeah, so this is how the companies have started adopting the technology in insurance sector. There are some other technologies which are quite popular in insurance sector, like now if you're if you're a corporate buyer, like Xoxoday wants to buy, let's say, a group health insurance of group health insurance. There are multiple types of calculators available in the industry where they can just go. I can just go put down certain data, and then I get a calculated output, and then I can just go and I can buy a policy, etc. So there are significant amount of improvements which are happening in insurance sector, and happy to see the companies are not averse to taking cloud as a solution, and kind of taking some of the solutions like Xoxoday, Freshworks, and Knowlarity as their partners.
Great, thank you, Kushal. Nityanand, you had something to add there?
Certainly insurance tech as such has evolved a lot these days, right? So if you see the entire customer journey in the insurance tech, from the customer acquisition to the life cycle of the customer, and certainly in the insurance tech itself, sector, the customer life cycle is huge. It's not just the customer is acquired. Even if you take a policy, for example, right, it lasts for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, right? So since the beginning of the customer acquisition to the journey of the things, the tech adoption is very, very high. So unlike in the past, right, people use the technology of video KYC. They do the KYC, they do the claim settlements, they do the OCR to understand the text recognition. They understand how to the your health assessment as well, getting the data from different places as well. And issuing a policy online. So many of the players, like large players, even be ICICI, Aegon Life, and all those, they're large chunk base each coming from their online sales as well, and providing the end-to-end policy online as well. And at the back end is happening all the tech things, right? Including the claims, including calculations like what is going to be the premium, should you get the claims or not. All these things are coming from the back end. So it's a huge tech adoption.
Amazing. Thank you, Nityanand. I think we have time for one more question before we wind up. It's a really interesting one that's come up in the Q&A widget. It's from Saad. The question is, in BFSI, there are often many intermediaries involved in a single transaction or customer request. How do companies work together, given that they might be operating on different CXM, CRM platforms, to deliver the most frictionless experience to customers? Yeah, I think that's definitely an interesting one. Himanshu, do you want to add some points?
So I think I think integrating with different CRM platform is not a challenge. And nowadays, especially in cloud, right, we all have RESTful APIs. APIs interact with each other, can create a ticket here and there, right? That's not a problem. Let's take an example of India, right? For example, if you're an insurance industry player, you've got to integrate with IRDA portal for complaint resolution, for example, right? So the ticket will be initiated, or the customer or complaint will be initiated in IRDA, and it'll come in portal, let's say, hosted on Freshworks. So those integrations are not a challenge. The only thing is, how do you really define that journey, right? Plan it out. That's the most important thing. But I think because we've done it for multiple customers where various integrations have taken place, it's not as difficult as it sounds. It's just that you need to plan it correctly. The whole journey has to be thought of. And also, there are a lot of connectors now available between platforms. So I don't see that as a big challenge nowadays.
Yeah, so just to add to Himanshu, we have seen this challenge almost in every enterprise customer. So, and in insurance, there are a handful of insurance companies in India. There are approximately 50 insurance companies in India, and there would be some TPAs and others. As combined, it would be not more than 150 odd. And we have seen that, yes, all these companies are using multiple data systems within themselves. It could be a transaction master, it can be a user master, it can be a holiday master, or it can be different types of masters where they store data in different systems. But now we have seen, we were actually quite excited to see that these companies have significantly matured middlewares, which actually acts like a database linking type of platform, where all these data can be linked. A master data can be kind of created and then can be fetched, or maybe it can be read or write, or maybe depending on the requirement, can be kind of consumed. And these middlewares then have significantly easy integrations available, through which any of the newest tech can be kind of integrated and worked upon. So insurance segment, I've seen significant kind of adoption of technology, and in fact not insurance, also banking and others. So we are also working with some large banks, and we have seen that the companies are now mature to kind of have those kind of middlewares where we can connect, and we can provide a superior experience to both the employees as well as the customers.
Amazing.
Absolutely. I think I agree with Kushal.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that's it. I don't think we have time for another question. I think we're almost at the top of the hour. So I would just like to say thank you to all of our panelists today. I think you had some great insights, which I'm sure our audience would find useful for their businesses. And I'd like to thank all our attendees for joining us today. We hope you had a good session and hope to have you at another one soon. Thank you once again, and bye for now.
Thank you, Nandita.
Bye,
Kushal.
So
bye, Nityanand.
Thanks, Himanshu. Thanks, Nandita. Thank you. Take care. Bye.